concept I call accumulated emotion. You're not starting the day with your glass empty. The way in which you are grinding and thinking about your success and the money they're making after hours, you just got to be aware of how that's carrying over to the following day. This is my tool to uncover the root cause of the problem. So what we're dealing with greed here, or a small version of it, but regardless of the emotion that we're describing, whether it's FOMO or revenge trading or overconfidence, we are not thinking about those emotions as the problem, right? You would not consider the pain you would feel if you jacked up your ankle as the problem, right? The pain is the signal alerting us that there is a problem. So we're thankful. I know you all aren't thankful for the FOMO and the revenge trading, et cetera, but it does help to orient us to know that there's something that we've got to examine. And the problem with a lot of the ways that many, kind of address these issues is we're trying to manage it and control it. But that is a mental process. And when your emotions rise too high, they actually shut down the part of the brain that gives you the power to control that emotion.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
kind of a sadistic way the brain's wired. We got to work around it. And so this is how we work around it. We dig into the problem, identify the root, the real cause, and then correct it. So this was how I had kind of framed the first step, which is just a very clear description of the problem before we started talking. There are times when I'm too eager and excited to trade, and that blocks me from seeing the character of the market change quickly enough. It happens when I get wrapped up in a good day and continue to press my bias, pressing the edges of a trend.
Yep.
Given what we've described now, is there anything else that you'd add to it?
No, I don't think so. That's pretty good. That sums up a like, giant leaky hole.
Yeah. So the second step is a hard one, and it's one that oftentimes gets people scrambled. And the reason is because we are often not thinking about these problems as being logical. Right? You're like, oh, this is irrational. I don't know why I'm doing it. Again, it's because I'm stupid. It's because I'm being, illogical. And the reality is that you are not crazy. Okay. So everything happens for logical reasons. You just don't understand what that reason is yet. So that's why we start to begin looking at it. Now, there's a flaw here. There is something wrong. That's just why the problem exists. But you can't really figure out what the real flaw is unless you get a good answer here. So putting on a different part of your brain, why do you think it makes logical sense that you have this problem or think or feel this way?
I think that this problem first happened when I started to try to learn how to trade something that is trending. And that was a really long process because I had most of the stuff that I learned just by stumbling around YouTube and Twitter and everywhere that you just teach yourself how to trade. Most of that stuff is mean reversion strategies. And when I opened myself up to trend trading in general and how to add at the edges, when to push, like what to look for signal wise, I kind of abandoned mean reversion trading and was only really focused on learning and executing and getting better and better and better at this other way. Just, I think, because I was trying to expand my broader playbook. And when this really started to bite me, and when I realized that I was blind to a lot of these days, is when I would get so wrapped up in like trying to find the way to execute that edge and push the edge of a trend day when it was ending. But I was so focused on trying to learn it, like not necessarily win, but just like get good at it. So I think that that became my primary motivation for a while. And that's what cost me a lot of, the mean would be reverting against me for quite a while. And I would just be eating it, trying to learn this new strategy and learn this new way.
So I would buy your answer if you hadn't already kind of tipped your hand and said this is a problem in poker. So
That's fair.
I'm not saying that what you're describing is wrong.
Okay.
It's, I think, correct if we're examining this more from the technical side of things.
Okay.
And your answer is generally what I get. As a trader, your mind is very well oriented towards looking at the sort of technical side of this problem and not really looking at the emotional flaws that are driving it.
Yeah. Well, I want to win. And one of the biggest ways to win, not necessarily the easiest, is to jam a trend day extremely hard for the entire day. And if you get a big trend day that runs and you're able to ride that whole thing, that's a big win. Not only can it make your month, but like That's a good self-affirmation. You can feel really good at the end of that. So
Yep.
that could be a more personal motivation there.
So what do you make of the line that you said earlier that you believe that variance is behind you?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to hear it outside of the context of, looking at charts and being in the heat of that moment. Of course, it's not behind you. Variance doesn't like anybody.
There's a part of you that kind of believes, wishes, hopes that it is.
Oh, sure, of course. If you can get variance and a trend day behind you on the same day, look out, man.
Yeah. Which one is it though? Because there's some pretty decent differences, and sometimes it's hard to gauge. And again, for those at home, try to gauge the difference between believe that variance is behind me or I wish and hope that it was. Which camp do you fall into?
Oh, I mean, it would probably be wish because I know for a fact that variance isn't behind me.
Yeah. And so we're going to kind of deviate a little bit and just say, okay, well, why do you think that your mind would kind of default into that wish?
Yeah, I mean, if I have variance behind me, then it's going to allow me to execute extremely poorly and still have good results. You can get away with a lot of ads that you probably shouldn't get away with normally. All you need is a little luck, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it would probably be an easier path through that trading day if variance was behind me, if that was humanly possible.
Well, easier path through the trading day and easier path to kind of significant outsized returns.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Just out of curiosity, how does it feel to hear you say that?
No, it's cool. Well, now you got me thinking about the last sentence I say every time I end the thoughts.
Sometimes it can just feel like a little bit odd to say these things out loud when you're kind of digging stuff out of the back of your mind. You're like, man, like this is absurd. Like how am I thinking about this? But if you say it's cool and actually, fits, then that's helpful.
No, I think it is. Yeah. That was an interesting observation. I hadn't dug like 3 steps into that before. So I didn't realize that maybe that was part of my motivation there too. So that's something to definitely.
Yeah. And do you have is any part of you kind of default to being a little bit lazy or procrastinating, anything like that?
Yeah, I would love to procrastinate everything if possible. I grew up as an extremely procrastinating kid, and I have like a rigorous discipline, and I have to. If I slip out of a habit, then the whole thing will definitely come sliding down. Like if I miss a run, then it gets a lot easier to miss the next run. I don't procrastinate anything now, and I work extremely hard. And any sort of backslide into that scares me for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of this here. The remnants of a ghost.
Okay.
Like there's just a party that wants kind of an easier path, rather than developing the rigor, which
Yeah.
again, not black and white. It's just taking that next level that you got to earn and you can't get it any other way than in these moments. And so again, here we are talking about being overeager, having a little bit of greed, a little overconfidence, kind of pushing edge and bias. And, it doesn't really kind of bite you until those losses. So the losses end up being the thing that you might focus more on, but the bigger cost could actually really be in the progression that we're talking about here, because there's just a part of you that's taking your foot off the gas. And on these big trend days, you're not as ruthless as you need to be in the precision. Now, I get that it's kind of hard to know where those lines are on those days, but like we're not talking about the obvious. You're saying these are B trades that immediately are wrong. So that's the fat that can easily get cleaned up when you kind of take on. And I'm kind of jumping here. Step 3 is the why is that logic flawed? But I'm kind of jumping to another correction, which is that you can see these trend days as opportunities to become more precise as a trader.
Yeah.
Cutting out the fat provides opportunity for you today, but more importantly, it provides opportunity for you in the future. Because if you have to stop defending against these types of trades, these types of mistakes, then it means that your mind is now freed up to learn something else and get better at something else.
Yeah, I'm extremely aware that I'm dulling my own edge when I'm in these moments, for sure. So that's a really positive way to think about that.
Cool.
See this as an opportunity to become a better trader.
There's one other piece of the puzzle here.
Okay.
So when you just kind of look at this, what we've described, like what to you feels like the flaw? I want to win. It's easier to win by jamming these trend days. Day can make my month. Wishing the variance is behind you. So like, what do you see as kind of flawed? Because the flaw is ultimately what we're trying to correct as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have to get that dumb variance idea out of there because it's just fiction. It doesn't exist. So I mean, that's the flaw, big time.
So it's fiction that I could possibly know when variance is truly behind me.
Totally.
Just to be dramatic, could we say, that this is you believing in Santa Claus?
Sure. Yep. Yeah, definitely.
I guess the way I would frame kind of like the correction we came up with around, wanting things easy, right? The easy way
Yes, right. Okay. Yeah.
has actually made things harder for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's been true for my entire life also. So, yeah, that tracks that it's still like subconsciously doing that in tiny aspects. Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, so just to kind of round this up, like we're just now, so the corrective kind of piece here. Okay, so there's obviously some insight you gained here, but this correction is going to be aggressively applied when you recognize these early warning signs, right?
Yeah.
We're connecting the dot between, all right, well, as soon as I start maybe, being more focused on Dom, looking for patterns, not even taking a B trade, right? But like, maybe thinking, right? You said not taking an ad that could have worked. And then the next one is where you can take, and it'll be an easy day. I think anytime you have the word ease in your mind, like that alone might be an indicator
Yeah.
that you need to be aggressive at correcting this emotional reaction. And, that's where this, corrective piece comes in here. It's like, all right, dude, I can't know if variance is behind this.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
It could be. And if it is, like, cool. But if it's not, well, then I'm not going to get, kind of blown up because of it. And, more pragmatically, it's like, all right, I don't want things to be easy here. I want to take the opportunity to improve technically and mentally, because you've got the opportunity to do both at that moment, right? And again, so this is the purpose of doing this mapping, so that you can be aggressive. And so, yeah, like let's say you do it, you have that logic, and you kind of buy into it, eases back some of that emotion, and you kind of get back to some better trading. But then, a couple more wins stack up, and all of a sudden that trigger comes again. So you got to be ready to be aggressive at applying it again and again. It is kind of like being in the gym, lifting weights.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as like focused and progressive as workouts are. Like, you just don't know when the mental workout, so to speak, is going to happen. You just have to be ready. So print these things out, make the reminders very, very clear.
Cool.
And then when you're doing really well, then you got the opportunity to make sure you continue to do well the right way.
No, this is good. Thank you for helping me dig in and identify this in such detail. I do have a lot of these problems that I work on, and then have those little trigger points that are like, everybody has a little alarm bell they should set when they know they're about to do one of their leaky game things. Like I said, if I sit down on Monday, this is an old problem I haven't had in years, but I would sit down on Monday and be like, yeah, let's go. I'm so excited it's Monday. And now that for me is a trigger to, okay, you got to get off the desk and go distract yourself. You can't be this excited to trade. All of my problems have a lot of these common threads that are in here too. So
Yeah.
that's good to know.
I mean, you bring up a key point, right? It's like we're talking about mostly about this being intraday, but I find that greed and overconfidence is sort of most consequential, at the end of days, and as they kind of carries over. The concept I call accumulated emotion.
Okay.
Like you're not starting the day kind of with your glass empty, right? And so the way in which you are grinding and thinking about, your success and the money they're making, et cetera, like after hours, you just got to be aware of how that's, carrying over to the following day. And I'm not saying go celebrate and have a great time. If you have, best trading day ever, you have a great month, you've got, doing really well. You just got to make sure that there's a line that you draw, and you're like, all right, well, that day is done, because frankly, the success I've had from a P&L standpoint has absolutely no relevance to how I trade tomorrow. In fact, this is the key. My process is the only thing that you get to carry over. You carry over emotion, process gets damaged. You carry over, less emotion, greater clarity on what you're trying to do. Well, process has an opportunity to improve. So that's the thing. You don't get to carry over P&L. It has no relevance on future. Performance. The only thing that has relevance is the clarity, the quality of your process and execution.
That's awesome. That's so well put. And then, maybe I can focus on, that can be my motivation, as something like, why not try to carry something tangible into the next day, and something as opposed to something intangible into the next day.
And you're saying like process becomes the thing that.
Yeah. So like instead, that can be a motivation to look for opportunities to improve process throughout the day, and not necessarily improve points.
Right.
That's cool.
This presentation is for educational purposes only. All of the symbols, trading ideas, and live trading are for demonstrational purposes and are not recommendations or trading advice. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. All of the information and opinions expressed by third-party guests are their own and are not necessarily those of NinjaTrader, LLC. Trading futures involves substantial risk and may not be suitable for everyone, and trading futures can result in losses greater than the initial required margin. Traders should only trade futures with risk capital. Risk capital is money that you can afford to lose without jeopardizing your financial security or current lifestyle. You can find additional disclosure information on the NinjaTrader website.